Hey everyone, it's Jesse Lear. I'm hanging out here at the VIP Waste office, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about something that I've been thinking about lately, which is the whole topic of visualization. If you saw the movie that came out about 10 years ago called The Secret, you've probably heard of this concept before, and there's been a lot of conversation in general since then about it, also a little bit of controversy. So I want to tackle this subject just a little bit today because it's something that I actually believe in very strongly, but not in the same way that you might have heard it explained before. So in the movie The Secret, they basically portray visualization as the practice of imagining your dream life. So whether you're imagining a Ferrari that you want, maybe you're imagining finding the spouse of your dreams, or whatever, the movie basically portrays this idea of imagining the life of your dreams, and that just by imagining it, you can make it real. You can make it appear in the real world, in your life. Do I believe it works like that? Do I believe visualization is really like this magic lamp that you just rub and things appear around you and everything's cool? No, I do not believe that at all. However, does visualization work? Yes, I really believe that it does. So the purpose of this quick video is really just to explain a couple of key reasons why I think visualization works. Also to tell you a personal story from my experience with visualization. It's still a daily habit of mine. And also I want to leave you with a few tips and instructions for ways that I've found to visualize effectively. Now, if you haven't heard the term visualization very much, it might sound to you as something that's a little bit woo-woo, a little bit crazy. But if you think about it, we all already do it. We just call it different names. We call it things like worry or fantasy. And really what visualization comes down to is simply imagining scenarios that don't exist in reality, at least at this very moment. So we're already visualizing. The idea we're talking about here is really the act of doing it intentionally, of really harnessing your mind and the mental movies that you're allowing to play in a way that is more likely to make the life that you've imagined come true. So there are two reasons why I believe visualization actually works, but first I want to tell you a personal story of mine from a time that I visualized back in college shortly after hearing about this whole idea for the first time. I was 20 years old at the time, a college student, and I had noticed around the campus where I went to school that a lot of the local businesses were overlooking some pretty easy opportunities to market to college students. And I wondered why they hadn't taken advantage of these, but I thought, you know what, this might be the perfect opportunity for me to put this whole idea of visualization to the test. And so I set a really crazy goal. I set a goal to, within 30 days, convince 3 local business owners, many of which were 2-3 times my age, with a lot more business experience than me too, by the way, to hire me as a business coach. 20-year-old baby-faced me. And so I set out to do this. I said within 30 days, I'm going to convince 3 people to hire me to coach them on how to better market to college students. I had no idea how I was going to do it, really didn't have any experience in business, but I had learned a lot. I kind of knew what I was talking about from the mentors that I had, from reading a lot of books, things like that. I was at least confident that I would actually be able to give them value if they were to pay me. So the way that I was going to make this goal come true and test this whole idea of visualization was for 30 minutes a day, I was going to sit down and I was going to vividly imagine scenarios of successfully convincing local business owners to hire me. And so that's what I did. For 30 minutes every day, I sat down, imagined with vivid detail walking into a local small business like a florist or a gas station or whatever, asking for the owner, requesting a meeting, the owner cheerfully saying, yes, I'd love to meet with you about this. Then going to the meeting and telling the owner about what I thought I could do for them, and then going, wow, this sounds amazing. This is exactly what I've been needing. Yes, I'm all in. And so I imagined these scenarios vividly for 30 minutes every day. What happened next was pretty crazy, and I'll tell you the full story at some point. But today, what I want to share with you is that it actually worked. Within 30 days, I'd convinced 3 local business owners to pay me more than $400 a month each to coach them on how to better market their business to college students. One of these clients actually paid me $650 a month, which was quite a bit more than I had even asked for. So, pretty crazy scenario. I would think you would probably agree that even with amazing sales ability, it would be pretty difficult for a 20-year-old to do something like this, especially with no business experience in the real world. But it happened. And throughout that entire time, I had visualized this exact scenario. So you be the judge. Did visualization help? Did it not? Either way, there are two specific reasons I think visualization really does work. The first one is pattern recognition, which is really a pretty simple thing, and we do it every day and in pretty much anything we do. A good example of pattern recognition is the blue car effect. You might have heard of this before. It's this whole idea of if you buy a blue car, all of a sudden it seems like every car on the road is blue. Before, it didn't seem like that many cars were blue at all. Because you bought one, the color blue was at the forefront of your mind, and all of a sudden it seemed like everything was blue. This happens in the same way in our life with the scenarios we imagine. If you imagine a certain scenario evolving in a certain way, then it's going to be more likely to happen in real life because you're going to notice opportunities and situations and elements and patterns that you might have looked over before. That's reason number one. Reason number two has to do with your emotional state. So imagine that you're really worried about finding a boyfriend or a girlfriend, and this is maybe you've been single for a couple of years and this is something that really bothers you. Imagine that you're worried about it one morning before you leave. You're taking a shower, you're getting ready, and you're thinking, man, it just seems like I can't even seem to get a good date lately, and I wonder if it's because I've gained some weight, or maybe my jokes are really lame, or like whatever it is that you're imagining that is the cause of this thing that you perceive as bad. The more you think about that, the more your confidence lowers, the more your shoulders droop, the more your head looks down. Next thing you know, you're walking down the street and a cute boy or an attractive girl walks by and says hello to you. If you were in that state, that emotional state of worrying about inadequacy and about just not being enough as a person, whether your jokes were lame or not, if those are the things that are going through your mind, you're probably going to not look very confident as you're walking down the street. You're probably going to have your shoulders drooping a little bit. Your head's probably going to be down. You might even be avoiding eye contact with people because you're not in a very confident or enthusiastic or passionate frame of mind. You're not in a good emotional state. So imagine the opposite happening. Imagine that you have pictured in your mind some really encouraging scenarios. Imagine that you visualize running into an attractive girl on the street and she says hello to you and you make eye contact and there's some kind of connection that you instantly feel, and you guys end up, for whatever reason, even though you never do this, you end up stopping and you talk and you exchange phone numbers. If this is a scenario that you've imagined, you're going to leave your apartment that morning smiling. Your chest is going to be out, your shoulders back, you're going to be making eye contact with people. You're going to be more likely, at least, to make eye contact with someone when they say hello to you, more likely to connect with them, more likely to end up exchanging information, at very least becoming friends. It's not magic, it's just emotional state. This is the second reason why I believe visualization really does work. It does change our emotional state. When you imagine scenarios that make you excited, you feel excited. When you imagine scenarios that make you feel confident, you end up feeling confident. Now, there are more reasons why I believe visualization works, but I wanted to share these two with you today because I think they're reasons that are very easy to sort of understand and to go, wow, yeah, that actually is true. It does work that way. So before we wrap up here, I want to share with you a couple of lessons I've learned that are really helpful in visualizing effectively and easily if it's something that you want to try. The first is this. If you have a little bit of trouble focusing like I do, one of the things that makes it a lot easier for me is if I try to walk around while I'm visualizing, maybe even play some instrumental music in my earbuds or from my iPhone or whatever. Now, I'll do that in the summertime around a path in my neighborhood. I walk around the whole path once or twice in the morning, and the whole time I'm visualizing these scenarios from each area of my life, the way I want my health and fitness to be, the way I want my finance situation to be, my career, my family situation. I've got scenarios that I've sort of designed that I envision every morning for each of those areas of life. But I walk around while I'm doing it. If it's in the wintertime and it's too cold to walk around here in Columbus, Ohio, I actually walk in circles around my dining room table over and over and over like a total idiot. Sometimes I even get so into this whole process that as I'm pacing around in circles over and over around my dining room table, I'll be speaking the words out loud that I'm saying in this particular scenario. Or let's say I just landed a big deal and I just got the email with the signed contract attached. I'll actually, in the middle of my dining room by myself, go, yes! And this kind of stuff works. It sounds totally ridiculous, but it works. You want to feel what you're imagining as much as you possibly can. The more you feel it, the more you see the vivid details of it, the more effective it's going to be, both for the reasons of emotional state that we talked about a moment ago, and for the reason of pattern recognition. The more vividly you imagine these details, the more you're actually going to notice similar situations in your real life that allow you to take advantages of opportunities that would have otherwise gone missed. One other thing you can do, if that doesn't even work, you still have trouble focusing, is what I call future journaling. Future journaling is really like any other kind of journaling. Imagine at the end of the day, you're writing, today I did this, and this is crazy what happened, it went like this, and it made me feel like that. You're really doing the same thing when you're doing future journaling, except you're journaling about a point in the future as though you just lived a day that you are imagining happening in your mind. So let's say I imagine getting a new client for business coaching when I was 20 years old. I would literally write on my computer or handwrite in a journal or whatever, today was the most amazing day. I couldn't believe it. I finally got my first client to pay me to coach them on business. This is so cool. I can't wait to get the next two and can't wait to celebrate. I told my mom about it on the phone today and she told me she was so proud of me. That made me want to do it even more. I'll basically write out all of these things as though I'm imagining them, as though I'm journaling them like they actually happened. This is one of the most powerful techniques that I've found to do visualization, because if you're writing, it's pretty hard to get distracted. You can just kind of power through it, and as you're writing, you're deeply feeling the things you're talking about and seeing them in detail. Hopefully this has been helpful for you and shed some light on the whole idea of visualization. Do I think visualization works? Absolutely. But I want to hear from you as well. If you've ever tried visualizing in the past, comment, let me know what you think. If you've never tried visualizing before, I encourage you to try it. It's extremely powerful. In fact, I believe in visualization so strongly that I actually spend an hour every single morning, probably 5-6 mornings a week, visualizing the scenarios of my own. I did it for 15 minutes for a while. I did it for 30 minutes. Before long, I realized how powerful this was, and today I do it for an hour. You don't need to do it that long. Just try it. Even if you only have 5 minutes, try it. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised by the results. Hopefully you've enjoyed this short video. Comment below, let us know what you think. If you think this is valuable, share it with your friends as well.